it's a privilege to tell a story like this. And I hope that it will have an impact socially for us. I hope we can start a conversation in a larger way about who we want to be together in these collective crises, how we want to show up for each other, and the standards we hold our institutions and our government to.
Congrats on the show. It is so well done. And it's, it's equally heartbreaking. I was so emotional watching the show. I think I was like sobbing. I had to like pause certain times just to like collect myself. But, you give a wonderful performance as Diane. It's very raw. What was it about this character? I know that she's based on a real person, but what really piqued your interest about, getting the chance to play her? And did you get to talk to Sherry Fink about her or even Diane herself?
None of the real people were involved in production. So our research was Sherry Fink, and was her brilliant book. But Sherry also, she's a brilliant journalist. So she has intense amounts of research that she just very openly shared with us. If, whatever questions we had, she even asked me, she's like, what is your process so that I can understand what you're looking for better here? And we had a long back and forth about that. And she was very eager to send us everything she could possibly send us. I will say this about my character. This is a woman who at 7 months pregnant shows up to the worst hurricane in a century, and it was forecast to be the worst hurricane in a century, to care for her patients and see her staff safely through the storm. And that says so much about a person, right? She's also very connected to her people. She's this really wonderful mix of compassion and empathy and real grit. That's very attractive to me. So even just the circumstance of this woman in this hospital during these 5 days says so much about her character. It was a real pleasure to step into those shoes.
I could see so much on your face. You were really emphasizing everything she was feeling. And, Katrina was a model in how corporate medicine is a failure when you're looking at numbers instead of lives. And, there's one particular scene, I won't spoil it, but it was between your character and a patient. And I'm wondering, how did you get into that mindset? Because it is very intense and it was so emotional. So I'm wondering if you were also feeling that behind the scenes.
You're talking about a scene in episode 5, I think, right? I just teared up even when you mentioned it.
I am too.
It is, without spoiling anything, it was so beautifully written and directed by John Ridley, that whole sequence. And Damon Standifer, who plays Emmett Everett, is such a love of a human being. And we had such a wonderful experience being together, but also as the characters. I really pride myself on being able to leave work at work. I think it's necessary if you're going to do this kind of emotional work or the extreme character work I sometimes do. But I obviously have still not shaken that scene. I obviously am, it's obviously still emotionally affecting me. And I think that probably will be true forever. It's just really beautifully written and directed. And everyone was so very committed, including Ramsey Nichol, our DP, did such a beautiful job trying to emotionally climb inside these characters with us visually. And he's so inventive in doing that. It really makes the audience feel like they're just either peeking over your shoulder or in the point of view with you. So it was, I suppose that depth of work comes with a cost. It is a cost I was happy to pay and still am. It's a privilege to tell a story like this. And I hope that it will have an impact socially for us. I hope we can start a conversation in a larger way about who we want to be together in these collective crises, how we want to show up for each other, and the standards we hold our institutions and our government to. Everybody abandoned these guys. When you talk about corporate medicine, LifeCare really paid the price for corporate medicine that day during the storm. The fact that LifeCare and Tenet were totally separate corporations. And that they in no way even attempted on a corporate level to try to work together. And then Tenet actively hindering the evacuation process for LifeCare patients. I still am flabbergasted by that. But it does show a massive failure of corporate medicine. And we need to have that conversation in our country too. Do we still believe in corporate medicine? Is it okay with us that people are making decisions in a boardroom that come down to good business decisions, maybe for them, but completely leave out the human element of it.
Yeah. Well, I love how this show humanizes it, and especially in times of COVID, and these decisions doctors were making were very similar to what's happening at Memorial. So, Julie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And again, congrats on the series.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for watching in such a heartfelt way.